Hello, you're watching news from Kazakhstan on K+. It is Tuesday, February 19th. These are the headlines. Astana residents line up in hordes near the Жилстрой Sberbank building for the recently launched accessible housing program. An energy department official is called to justice in Kazakhstan for running over a woman while intoxicated. Theater costumes for ties. Russian entrepreneurs and officials visit Pavlodar with a charity play. Crowds gathered in front of Astana's Жилстрой Sberbank offices on the first day of applications for the Accessible Housing 2020 program. People began lining up the night before to try and make it on the contenders list on time. We begin our program with a story on the difficulties of getting housing.
Central City branch of Жилстрой Sberbank is very busy these days. Bank's officials are not able to process all those applications on affordable housing program. Because of long queues, even people in police uniform are not allowed into the office. All Жилстрой Sberbank depositors are qualified for the program. However, the number of apartments is limited. Even if applicants have equal scores, the bank will give preference to the person who applied earlier. That is the reason why people wait long queues and compile the waiting lists on their own. People have arranged the waiting list by themselves, although bank officials could have done it. They could have established a line and make a list, but they didn't do it, and we're waiting our turn based on the list. We're here all day long. I haven't been sleeping for 2 days in a row, and my turn hasn't come yet. I am not admitted today. I'll spend the night here so that I could be received in the morning. Bankers view the long lines as an indicator of the program's popularity among people. The square meter for program participants will cost $950, which is half price of the market value in Astana. That is the reason for all the rush, bank's officials say. We're receiving people until 6. We'll see how it goes. We can't possibly receive 100 or 200 people in the day. We can only receive as many as 40. 4 departments will be processing applications until April 18. There are no problems here. Parliament members say that problems do exist. The management of Жилстрой Sberbank is getting rich on budget funds. Deputies even presented figures to back up their accusation. For the past 2 years, around $465 million from the state budget was allocated to finance the program, and there is a zero result. MP Nurlan Jazilbekov says that only bankers are on the velvet. The deputy sent an inquiry to the Prime Minister wondering what the real role of Жилстрой Sberbank is, helping people get a roof over their heads or get rich on the budget funds and depositors' money. In other words, Жилстрой Sberbank is not fulfilling its social role given by the government and decreasing the cost of housing credits. Despite the funds allocated from the budget at 1% per year and access to deposit funds at 2% per year, the real cost of the credits of Жилстрой Bank in 2012 and 2013 ranged from 11 to 19%. Those figures are almost the same as mortgage loans in commercial banks. Meanwhile, in the capital alone, there are over 50,000 people who need affordable housing. Despite that, last year the bank commissioned slightly more than 1,500 apartments. This meant that affordable housing will remain inaccessible for ordinary citizens.
Creator of an adoption website, Usanoviti.kz, is offering a new idea to gradually eliminate orphanages in Kazakhstan over the next 8 years. Is the nation prepared for such a novel move? Find out in this story.
2 years ago, 6-year-old Vika was brought to the shelter by her brother. Their mother is an alcoholic and there's nobody else to look after the little sister. This is my family, my brothers and lots of sisters. We study and take writing classes. We walk and play outside. It feels like home here, says 14-year-old Rostislav Korchagin. He was brought here 4 years ago along with his brothers and sisters by their godfather. They have no mother, while their father is too busy for the children. Rostislav admits that he misses his dad. I like it here, nobody hurts us. We're able to study here and like back home. According to current statistics, there are about 11,000 orphans in Kazakhstan. The government allocates over $53 million to support 196 institutions. Social activist Aruzhan Sain is convinced that if Kazakhstan residents will be more active in adopting children, their orphanages will soon become irrelevant. The child stays in the system until the age of 13 on the average. Then the child goes to the college or a specialized school at age 16. However, the child may have been adopted at a smaller age. The number of children in the orphanages will be reduced with years because most of them will be adopted at a very early age, especially considering the new law in Kazakhstan. In this case, there might be very few orphans in 13 years. Within a period of 6 to 7 years, we will see the reducing number of orphans in shelters. The orphanages will become irrelevant because, let's say, there are only 50 kids left out of 150. Nevertheless, Aruzhan Sain herself, who is the author of this idea, known for her charity projects, believes that many residents of Kazakhstan are not yet ready to adopt orphans. The singer Kudaybergen Bekeshev admitted that he wouldn't be able to take such an important step. I don't plan to do it. It's a common practice among Kazakhs to help orphans. Well, my help in this case will be the concerts and visiting the orphanages from time to time because I'm a person of art. In fact, I believe one shouldn't publicize his good deeds. After all, every Muslim owes it to Allah. Father Safroni established a family-type shelter in 2000. He says that he is not ready to give away his children. He's afraid that they will be abused in the government facilities. Yet, according to him, it's very risky to let just anyone adopt the children. I don't know if it's going to be any good to give away all our children, because from my experience with people, many simply adopt for money. The person adopting the child should indeed love him. The foster parents should educate him. In the meantime, certain NGOs in Kazakhstan put an effort to establish a new website for adoption called usanavi.kz. It contains information on orphans. Nearly 50 children have been adopted through this website in only 6 months.
After 9 years of deliberations, Russia has finally decided to fully take over a school in Baikonur that was built on Kazakh money, but not without performing a few changes with the curriculum. We turn to the next story for more.
The Baikonur school built by Kazakhstan has finally gotten official secondary educational institution status after switching over to the Russian budget financing. Another advantage is the new school building boasting significantly better equipment as compared to the previously occupied kindergarten premises. We have finally gone from an elementary to a secondary school status and got an opportunity to accommodate more pupils. The old kindergarten premises could hold only 315 children, while the new building is spacious enough for 700 students. We're very happy with the new school. It's spacious, well-lighted, warm and cozy. It offers a variety of sports classes and a well-equipped dining facility. It has everything for a high-quality educational process. However, along with providing generous financing, the Russian side insisted on a few educational program amendments. The new school will adopt the Russian curriculum and Kazakh language textbooks with due emphasis on the history of Russia for the 1st through 7th grade pupils. From the year 7 to graduation, the children will continue with the Kazakh education course. The dual teaching approach poses concerns for the local education department officials. We don't like the idea of conforming the teaching program to educational standards of both countries. We hope that this problem will be resolved at the governmental level in the near future. The Russian Federation remains the primary renter of the space launch facility and the major source of investment for Baikonur's public objects, including schools, which allows the Russian party to dictate its terms. And while most of Baikonur citizens endorse opening of the new school, the parents are likely to face the necessity to explain their children which of the two countries is their true motherland.
An article published in the Sunday Times claims the famous socialite, owner of the Vionet fashion house, and Timur Kulibayev's tacit friend Goga Ashkenazi has been refused entry into England. The publication says this happened last fall when she landed in a small airstrip in Northolt in her private jet, but the incident only came to light recently.
This happened before second son of Gogi was born. As media said, the father was Timur Kulibayev, son-in-law of the president of Kazakhstan. As a result, the London lady had to settle down in Milan, where the child was eventually born. The media says that it is not the first time Goga Ashkenazi faces problems on Great Britain border. She has a Panamanian passport for this. We called Goga on the phone in London asking to clarify what really happened on the border that day. Ashkenazi evaded the question of where she was and preferred to call herself a European. This is just a misunderstanding. I have a European passport and I can travel wherever I want. 2 years ago there was a problem with Panama passports, but now I talked with my lawyers who are deciding on whether to sue the newspaper, so there are no other newspapers that write about it. I don't have a Kazakh passport, so I do not have any relation to Kazakhstan whatsoever. So even many Russian citizens buy Panama passports to have free entrance. But now I don't need it all because I'm a European citizen.
In other news, 140 Kazakh citizens were evacuated from Syria due to destabilizing political conditions, while 7 Kazakhstanis were amnestied in Turkmenistan and returned home. They were detained last year for illegally crossing the border.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a group of armed Kazakhstan hunters crossed the border with Turkmenistan in October 2012. As a result, they were detained and sentenced to long prison terms. Last Friday, the Turkmen president pardoned the citizens of neighboring states. Currently, Kazakhstan citizens, accompanied by the consul and police, are on their way to the border. Police will be accompanying them up until the Temirbaba border checkpoint. In addition, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs commented on the detention of another compatriot. Safar Haji Partoyev was arrested in Tajikistan for taking hostage 3 Ukrainian citizens, whose relatives reported about the incident to officials a few days ago. However, according to the Kazakhstan side, the situation was quite a different one, to put it mildly. According to the Embassy of Kazakhstan, it's a business dispute between Safar Haji Partoyev and Semirikov, one of the Ukrainian citizens. Partoyev and Semirikov did business together importing cars. As a result of one deal, Semirikov ended himself in debt to Partoyev. Partoyev demanded a repayment, but Semirikov refused to repay and told his relatives in Ukraine that he and 2 other Ukrainian citizens were taken hostage in Dushanbe.
More torture hearings are soon to take place in South Kazakhstan's Sarayagash District Court. Court officials themselves note an increase in the use of torture during suspect interrogations. 5 such cases against police officers were instigated over the last 6 months, all resulting in convictions. We turn to this report for more on the latest case.
34-year-old Hasan Yakubov, suspected of cattle theft, was admitted to hospital in a poor state. The man said that a month ago, officers from Saragash District Department of Internal Affairs subjected him to aggressive interrogation. According to Hasan, the policeman used an electric shocker, gas masks and clubs. I hope no one will experience what I've gone through. I was tortured, they took my clothes off and threatened to rape me. According to Hasan, after he confessed to a crime, the policeman took him to the hospital. Local doctors didn't render him medical assistance and refused from drawing up a medical report. Chief Doctor Perdebek at the district hospital told me, I will have problems if I write that policeman used an electric shocker and beat me. However, fellow villagers of Hasan are quite happy that police caught the thief and that he confessed. It became known during investigation that they were engaged in cattle theft and they confessed to it. They're slandering against the police. The policemen are right in making them admit their guilt. I'm thankful to the police for this. Village residents have made a police statement and Hasan Yakubov is now under arrest. The court will be addressing 2 cases, one on cattle theft, another on tortures, making Hasan Yakubov a defendant and a victim at the same time. The investigators of Internal Security Department are now looking into the case. If facts of tortures by the police are confirmed and if there is a chance that policemen used tortures against citizens and violated their rights, those officers will be placed under arrest and a criminal case will be initiated on torture charges. Meanwhile, court officials say that torture cases against suspects and people on trial are becoming a common thing. Over the past 6 months, 2 criminal cases have been initiated and 5 policemen were sentenced to different terms. Yakubov's case is currently under review.
A Karaganda official caused a car accident that resulted in the death of 1 woman. Eyewitnesses say the Regional Energy Department Chair Yerlan Otyeshov crossed into an oncoming traffic lane and collided with 4 vehicles. Preliminary data claims Otyeshev's car was moving at a speed of 140 kilometers per hour while the driver was intoxicated. Details next.
This footage is from the car accident scene, which was recorded by eyewitnesses an hour after the accident. According to witnesses, the BMW suddenly veered into the oncoming lane on Gogol Street and collided with several cars, killing a woman as a result. The victim was in this car with her underage son. Currently, doctors of traumatology department are fighting for a child's life. Later, the name of the alleged culprit turned out to be Yerlan Ucheshov, the head of the regional department for energy and utilities. He was also hospitalized with multiple head injuries. It has been 2 days since the accident, but doctors refrained from taking the responsibility to report to media that the official was drunk at the time of the accidents. After any road accidents, we take urine samples for alcohol analysis. Currently, we have not received any results. We're still running the analysis. The victim of the road accident was buried on Monday. However, the relatives worry that the official will escape the punishment for committed crime. Thus, they demand for him the hardest punishment. The only thing that I want is the trial to be as fair as possible and punishment as severe as it could be, to give a lesson to those who cause such accidents. According to the report of the hospital, the suspect will not be able to continue treatment in a detention center. The investigation is under direct supervision of MIA department leadership and MIA minister. The residents of Karaganda region have been long familiar with the persona of Yerlan Ucheshov, the perpetrator of the accident. In 2006, he worked in Karaganda governor's office. From February 2009 to 2011, he served as the mayor of Shakhtinsk. When the previous regional administration reinstated the city status of Priozersk, he was appointed as its mayor. Later, in November of 2012, Yerlan Ucheshov became the head of the regional department for energy and utility sector. Now everyone awaits what will be the next stage in the life of the official.
Former Minister of Labor and Social Protection Gulshara Abdukalikova is proposing to fight domestic violence with flash mobs. The National Commission on Women, headed by the ex-minister, is prepared to hold the first such campaign on May 15th, International Family Day.
We could hold protest campaigns and flash mobs against violence in cooperation with you and our foreign colleagues. During the Telebridge meeting organized by the Russian state agency RIA Novosti, the deputies from Kazakhstan, Russia and Azerbaijan noted that the problem of domestic violence is aggravated by the lack of objective statistical data, as family battery incidents are often concealed from the public eye. According to the official information, around 40,000 women in Kazakhstan have been subjected to domestic assault. The Azerbaijan parliament member from Baku, Elmira Akhundova, suggested resorting to drastic measures, such as imposing custodial sanctions of up to 15 years of imprisonment for bride kidnapping. However, the Kazakhstan party seemed to lean towards a more humane Norwegian approach, suggesting psychiatric consultations for the violently inclined family members.
Cattle worth 2 million euros was wiped off in North Kazakhstan region on Monday. These lead cows from Austria lost out against the local epidemiological environment. Contaminated with bovine viral diarrhea, the animals were sent to the incinerator. In this report, we attempt to find out who is to blame for the incident.
Almost $3 million were simply burned down on Monday in Petropavlovsk. The staff of the sanitary service destroyed 115 calves and 50 cows in the farm Poltavskaya. The slaughtered cattle was dumped in the large pit in the ground and burned. The government covered the cost for destruction of infected livestock. A week ago, Vice Minister of Agriculture Gulmira Yesayeva accused Austrian veterinary authorities of negligence. 722 imported cows turned out to be infected. The cows were tested positive on Schmallenberg virus and viral diarrhea. This livestock was certified by the Veterinary Service of Austria. The cattle was properly imported, while the Veterinary Service of Austria admitted that export of the livestock hasn't been fully monitored and taken appropriate measures. Following the first reported infected cattle, the Austrian side immediately responded. The official statement of the foreign partners emphasizes that they supplied healthy cows. Perhaps the livestock was vaccinated with combination vaccines after departing from Austria. Examination results suggest that the immunity of animals encountered the infectious agents and vaccination shortly prior to blood sampling in Kazakhstan between December 11 to 17, 2012. Blame it on the middleman, says the leader of Aul party Gani Kaliyev. The private companies transport the livestock, while the system itself is infected by a virus of corruption. Prevention and treatment of infectious patients, which was previously run by the state, is now done by the license. It's obvious that a private entity will approve even infected meat for a bribe. However, the worst may very well be down the road. The milk of these infected cows was sold in the markets of Petropavlovsk for several months. The experts are yet to figure out how dangerous these viruses are to human health. Over the past 2 years, Kazakh farmers purchased about 35,000 foreign cows. According to the Minister of Agriculture, Asyljan Mammadbekov, the authorities will continue importing foreign cattle despite the scandal in the north.
Russian public officials and businessmen paid an extraordinary visit to Pavlodar. They staged a charity play serving as directors, makeup artists, and actors. What made the state servants and entrepreneurs from the northern neighbor dress up and play theater? In this final story.
First time in the history of Kazakhstan, managers of factories, banks and even government officials are performing on the stage of Pavlodar City Palace of Culture. In fact, it's not the reports and presentations that they have prepared, but the song and dances and theatrical costumes. Entrepreneurs and officials from Rubtsov's Russia managed to pull the unusual experiment. They say it's all about having a good time, but there are more reasons. Some might say that we're fooling around because we've got nothing else to do. Some may surely enjoy how it turns out. If you always pay attention to what others have to say, then you might as well give up. Therefore, we should put an effort and maybe people will like it. The key thing here is to enjoy the process. Suits and ties during the day, makeup and props in the evening. This is how entrepreneurs of Rubtsovs have been working for a few years already. In fact, their unusual hobby also brings a certain income, which goes exclusively to charity. This is their volunteer work. For the last 5 years, we've been able to improve the yards in our city with the money we made. We encourage the citizens to send us the proposal if they want to get funds to organize something nice in their yard. The play «The Третьих Петухов» by Vasily Shukshin is charitable as well. All the raised funds will be donated to the family of Rahat Janibekov, who suffers from a rare form of leukemia. Mother of the 10-year-old boy hopes that her son would recover. The fact that the Russians helped the family, a woman refers to as the manifestation of true kindness. We're very happy. I'd like to express my motherly gratitude to everyone for the financial and moral support. After the performance in Pavlodar, Russian actors went to Astana to hold another play there. This time the funds collected are meant for the family of the child with cancer.
That's all we have time for now. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.